Starting a business is definitely one of the pathways to wealth. But as I will often say, that starting a business is one thing, but being able to build a, a brand that has local, regional, and international relevance is quite another story. Now, one of the greatest challenge that we have seen business startup are faced with is access to capital. So that brings me to my subject of discussion today. And what I want to spend some time talking about today is the subject that we call corporate finance. Now, when we speak of corporate finance in the financial world, I'm referring to two financial platforms. One that is known as the DCM, the debt capital market, the ECM, the equity capital market, the CCM, the credit capital market, and the smart capital market. Now, the most successful businesses across the world, they use element of all four of these financial platforms. And because in their economies, they have these financial systems. And all four of these financial systems, you're likely to find them in developed economies. Developing economies tend to be at a massive disadvantage because most of them, business startup and entrepreneur, they are saddled with debt capital market. And in many cases, they talk about debt that is accumulated at high interest rates. What I want to do is to spend some time today in talking about that. But in talking about that, we are talking about also the best method of approaches to access debt. And I also want to spend some time talking about business credit and the credit capital market. At Global Capital Inc., we have built out a unique learning institution that we are calling the 10X Blueprint Academy. Now, the 10X Blueprint Academy is really designed to help businesses and private individual who wants to achieve more financially to really understand how to achieve that. So one of the things that we are talking about is business and some of those challenges that business are faced with. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about today is relating to the corporate financing, uh, credit capital, and the credit capital market. Now, in the developed world, research is showing that the biggest of businesses, before they became where they are today, they would have used some form of business credit. In developing economies, they don't have this luxury and this advantage to truly access the credit capital market. Now, in accessing any form of capital, we talk about it from the perspective of portfolios that exist. We talk about pre-qualification criteria. We talk about smart ways to leverage those debt portfolios. And we talk about smarter ways to mitigate those portfolios so as to ensure that your asset is not at risk. And because of the strategic game plan around debt mitigation, you're able to build up healthier relationship with the accredited investors or the lenders. Talking about the credit capital market, the same principle applies to the credit capital market. One of the things that I want to point out about the credit capital, about business credit, is that it is much different than the debt capital market. It is much different from the equity capital market, and it is much different from the smart capital market. It is different based on the areas that I highlighted earlier. The pre-qualifications are there are different. The debt leverage may be the same, but the debt mitigation are also very important things to know and understand and to be able to leverage it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the pre-qualifications to access uh, credit capital markets. Now, the research that we are doing and the parties that we're interfacing with and the systems that we are rolling out to help persons to access this market is showing that three main things stand out when you are going after credit capital. For example, it is important to draw the distinction between personal credit and business credit, and I'll explain that now. When you're going for personal credit, the three main things that stand out is one, your SSN, which is your social security number. Two is your credit rating, and three, your fixed place of address. But personal credit has its limitation based on the fact that you're only able to get a certain amount in personal credit leveraging this platform. However, having said that, this in itself makes it much easier to access the credit capital market because when you look at the pre-qualification criteria for the debt capital market and the equity capital market, the credit capital market pre-qualifications are much lower. And the average persons who are living in the United States, they have their SSN, they have credit score. If they don't have good credit score, those are things that can be managed and those things can be fixed. And obviously they have a fixed place of address. On the other hand, you have business credit. Now, business credit is different from the perspective that you can get business credit without using your SSN, your social security number. And this is what many persons are not aware of. There is something that we call the EIN, which is the employer's identification number. And by simply having the EIN, it can be leveraged to start to build up your business portfolio. And in building up your business portfolio, you're now able to leverage that business portfolio to access a huge amount of capital. And credit capital can range from 10,000 to 50,000, from zero to $2.5 million. Because persons that we're interfacing with, we have seen that they have been able to leverage their credit capital market and raise $2.5 million within 9 months. Now, $2.5 million in US standards might be small, but when you convert that, let us say, into Caribbean currency, Guyana, you're talking about $500 million in credit to help move your business forward. And $500 million is certainly a decent amount of capital in this part of the world. So the key here as we talk about this subject matter is not only knowing the portfolios that exist, it's not only understanding the pre-qualification criteria, but it's understanding key approaches to leverage because it is understanding how to leverage these capital is what really connects you with the enablers. The enablers allows you to cash flow allows you to reach your monthly debt obligation. And we are very keen on this as we work with our clients to ensure that you get access to this market. Again, we don't end here with just simply looking at the accommodators and the enablers. We work with you to really help you to understand the debt mitigation processes because failing to understand the most strategic and innovative approach to manage and mitigate debt, you can open the door for everything to go wrong. The Murphy law to go wrong in relation to debt acquisition, debt leverage, and debt mitigation. And as in our company, the Global Capital Inc. brand, working with our PFA, professional financial advisors, certified public accountants, economists, and business consultants, we bring to you a comprehensive approach that really enables you to find the most prudent, the most effective, the most smartest ways to buy leverage and mitigate that. So today we are talking about business startup. We talk about business generally. We say that business is one of the platform that is used to build wealth. But starting a business is one thing, but building out that business, that brand to attain local, regional, and international relevance is quite another story. And I begin by saying that one of the barriers to business success is access to capital. So we look at corporate finance and then we look at the four types of capital. We dig in deep into credit capital. But of course, from a business standpoint, access to capital is not the way at all. It's important for you to understand your enablers, your accommodators. It's important for you to build out those relationships with the accommodators and the enablers that guarantees the cash flow of the organization, of the business, of the brand. So I want to encourage you to reach out to us at the Global Capital Inc. brand and the 10X uh, Blueprint Academy, because we have a series of programs that are really designed to help you to understand the smartest way to start your business, the smartest ways to scale your business, and how to access various type of capital, whether it's be debt capital, equity capital, credit capital, and smart capital. This program really digging deep into that. The 10X Blueprint Academy, the learning institutions, has designed a series of programs that really helps you to understand how to navigate the business world and the financial world. That gives you greater support, greater cushion, and greater leverage to be successful using the business model. But also remember, our platform is not only for the entrepreneur, it is for the average individual who wants to achieve more financially. And for the person who wants to achieve more financially, we talk to you, yes, about how to invest in, uh, you know, performing assets and, how to deal with passive income cash flow. We talk to you about smart investment and platforms, so you have a practical knowledge about the whole process. You understand the theory of doing it, and you understand the practical process of doing it. So again, I just want to close by saying I trust that you would have enjoyed this short podcast. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Managers to Billionaire Codes and Managers and Toolkits. Now, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next broadcast. Be blessed.